he should be impeached. That's not only because of what he's done. To answer whether he has committed acts of sufficient to warrant impeachment is obvious. But we have to remember that impeachment isn't only about what the president's done. It's about the threat the president poses to the nation if allowed to remain in office.
Joining me now is the ranking member on the House Judiciary Committee, Georgia Republican Congressman Doug Collins. And Congressman, as these things go, Donald Trump, right there, the president tweeting right after Biden said that. So let me read that to you. He said, "So pathetic to see sleepy Joe Biden, who, with his son Hunter and to the detriment of the American taxpayer, has ripped off at least 2 countries for millions of dollars, calling for my impeachment, and I did nothing wrong. Joe's failing campaign gave him no other choice." So there we have that, a little bit of news. You, sir, though, are really focused on the process and the law. Where do you think things stand now after the White House put out the letter last night and Nancy Pelosi saying we're not going to accept it?
Well, it's really interesting, Dana. It's good to be with you because if you even look at the statement that Speaker Pelosi said, she's assuming the president's guilty. Look at what she said. She said that the White House is continuing to hide, his actions. That's not true. And I think it's a disservice to the American people. And the Speaker needs to be more careful with what she says because they have not been in an impeachment inquiry in any historical fashion. The Clinton investigation in the late 90s, the Nixon impeachment series, there was always a fairness issue. And the American people are beginning to see that Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff like going behind closed doors where nobody can examine what they're doing, where they can only leak out information that they want to have. And nobody in this country believes that that's American. They believe when they look at it on its face value, they may not even like what the president's doing. They may disagree with it, but they do not believe that it should be done in an unfair way. And that's what she's doing right now.
There was a little bit more back and forth. This is the acting OMB director, Russ Vought. He had this to say. Listen.
Yesterday's letter speaks for itself. We're not going to be a part of any sham process that's designed to relitigate the last election. When the American people spoke very clearly and soundly in saying that they want President Trump to be their president, and that's now being used to influence the next election.
And Adam Schiff, the chairman of the House Intel Committee, he tweeted this, saying that the White House says there's nothing wrong with pressuring a foreign government to intervene in a U.S. election. They say they will not cooperate with an impeachment inquiry unless it's on their terms. They mean the president is above the law. The Constitution says otherwise. Since you are a lawyer, to make it very clear for folks, the Democrats maintain that they don't have to hold an actual vote on impeachment in order to then actually charge the president with obstruction. Is that how you read the Constitution?
No, what I read here is what the House has done in its historical preference. Let's put this back where it needs to be. This needs to be in a due process hearing because when the House comes together to form an inquiry, that is their discussion to see if there's something actually there that they will then take and write articles of impeachment, which there are the actual documents in which you would impeach a president with that would actually go to the Senate. The problem they're having here is every time, and I've lived through the circus of the House Judiciary Committee this year, which really is not about Mueller. It's not about the Ukraine. This is about a 2016 election moving into a 2020 election. And for everybody out there, just please follow this very closely. If it's to be fair, the inquiry, just as it was under Clinton, just as it was under Nixon, puts rights and procedures in place where the minority has subpoena rights, where the president and his team actually are able to have input into these processes, and they're not wanting that. Every time they've done an investigation or every time they wanted to have an investigation, it's cleared the president or it's made it show that there is no impeachable offenses. We're there again. This president is a disruptor. This president does things. This president is action-orientated, and they don't like that. And then when he talks about corruption in other countries, he goes after it. They just simply have now found a tool and a solution. Let's don't do it out in public. Let's don't have due process. Let's don't treat the president with fairness. Let's go behind closed doors and let Adam Schiff run his little kangaroo court any way he wants to. But people out there understand this, Dana. Anybody who's ever been accused of something understands in America you have the right to defend yourself. And Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff, Jerry Nadler, and the rest of the crew don't like that because they've gained nothing in 9 months. And the people are starting to understand that.
Let me ask you one last question. For a long time, the Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, had been tapping the brakes. She did not want to go to this impeachment inquiry. And now it feels like it's on hyperspeed. And I've just been told recently, in the last couple of hours, that because of the president's letter in which he says we're not participating in this, she might actually speed things up and go forward with a vote, an article of impeachment on obstruction. Do you think that that could happen as soon as next week?
I don't think it'd happen as soon as next week. If Speaker Pelosi is willing to put her speakership, the House majority on the line, if she's willing to try and interfere with really what I see as the 2020 election, if she's willing to go forward to the American people and explain to the American people why she's being unfair, why she's being un-American, why she has not asked for due process, why she doesn't want to do it properly, then that's a choice that she's going to have to make. But this president has been very clear in everything that he's done. She is the one that's deceiving the American people, and we've got to understand, if she's wanting to do this on obstruction, she's doing what I'll call an Al Green impeachment. She's just writing up things, taking it to the floor, and then she's going to force her members to have to vote on it.
And then we will see what happens from there. Congressman Doug Collins of Georgia, thanks for being with us today.
Dana, it's great to be with you. Take care.